time for Virginia and Virginia Tech to tip it off in Blacksburg. With that, our ACC network coverage begins. Hokies will have first touch of the basketball.
Both teams like to play man-to-man. Virginia, though, has played a lot of zone defense here lately.
Wenzel directing traffic as the Hokies wade into this one. Here is the premier performer the last time out, but it's lost into the hands of our other player to watch.
Virginia is really good in transition. The Hokies are going to have to be wary of getting back.
First one, a three ball that is well off the mark, and that'll bring the building to life to get things started. Let's glance at our starting lineups in this one. No surprises, really, when you look at the starting five on both sides.
This has been a pretty steady group here lately, although Virginia's lineup has changed a lot over the course of the season due to a bunch of injuries, and we'll talk about that later. We talked about them playing a little bit of zone. Second possession, they're in that 1-2-2 zone.
Down the right side, Eck won't get it to fall, but the follow-up does. A second chance point for the Hokies. First team on the board in this one. Here's a look at the starting five for UVA. You said it. Can't really say all hands on deck. Let's say most hands on deck now for Virginia.
Yeah, and that's one of them they just got back. Odessa Noyan, who missed 6 games due to an illness, but she's back at full strength for Coach Mox.
Noyan, the sophomore out of Sweden, has Virginia's first points. Bucket apiece on the board as they settle into the Commonwealth Clash. Johnson looking for her first points. There they are. Special player, if you haven't seen her, Kymora Johnson. She makes her presence known here in Blacksburg.
She is really good. She is a headache for the opposing coaches as well as the team.
Now, one-of-a-kind performer we'll talk about on so many levels. Well, here's Micheaux. That hand is much for what she's done of late as for that basket you just witnessed.
This is why we featured those two players at the top.
They trade baskets, and it's a 5-4 lead. The three-pointer from Johnson, the difference. Here's Clark down the lane. Big rebound. Micheaux effective on both ends. Stop pop effort for Eck that won't fall.
That's a nice mid-range jump shot, though. Didn't go all the way to the hole with it.
These teams playing opponents of late that were battling them for pace. They both like to shoot the lights out this go-round, and there's Olivia McGee doing so.
She is a great shooter. Beautiful form. If she gets her feet set, you think they're all going in.
Another of the Virginians in a sophomore season alongside the headliner, Kymora Johnson.
Virginia, one of the best shot blocking teams in the league, and you saw it right there with Lattimore.
We hand it off to Wenzel, who comes up the floor. Here's Eck looking for a three. The rim's out. Micheaux was right there, just couldn't get enough on it.
Great job, offensive glass. Hokies doing a little transition of their own.
Lattimore knocks it down from beyond the arc.
32% from out there, getting more and more comfortable facing up, though. She's kind of a stretch four, but having to play the 5 for the Cavaliers.
The well-traveled Lattimore, who spent time at Miami, then transferred over from Texas to UVA.
Has had a relationship with Coach Mox for a long time, but finally got to play with her, for her, in Charlottesville.
Shoot-em around must have went well today. Everybody finding the bottom of the bucket right now. Hokies get one from Baker here.
Karis Baker, one of the best shooters the Hokies have.
This call going to send it to the other end of the floor. As you get a look at the first-year head coach of the Hokies, her initial taste of the Commonwealth Clash.
Yeah, she's really got this bunch playing well, too. There were some returnees from last year, but they were returnees who didn't play significant roles on last year's team, and she has got them playing really well, a balanced attack, and very aggressive on both ends of the floor.
She knows a little bit about looking over at Coach Mox on the other side of a rivalry, but that was in Michigan. This is a little different, as now they are the headliners battling it out in the Commonwealth.
Michigan State, that's a pretty good rivalry too, isn't it?
Not a bad spot to learn a little bit about the ones that matter most. And here's another bucket from White, and they are really shooting well to begin things, both the Hokies and the Cavaliers, off to fast starts here.
Lonnie White's been playing her best basketball since having 14 and a win at Georgia.
Scramble for it underneath. Lattimore is able to hang on to it, and it's eventually lost out. Will come to this end of the floor. You know, in recent days, these two teams have faced opponents that may have wanted a different pace. Both of them liking this pace right now, and there is the third-year head coach of the Cavaliers.
This is going to be up and down. Coach Mox has done a good job, 500 each of the first couple years, trying to take that next step and get to the NCAA tournament.
When you think about what's happened with season ticket sales and the visibility of the basketball program there in Charlottesville, we haven't talked about it that much yet. As we get a whistle here.
You know, Riley Graves with the foul coming in off the bench. She's been playing a lot more lately, and she's really in there to defend and rebound. And yeah, she just got Baker on that left arm.
Worth another glance, and here's a shot at the line. First one will go down for Karis Baker.
Riley Graves hadn't played a lot early in the season, but playing more lately, improved her game, getting more comfortable to transfer from North Carolina.
Both free throws down for Baker. Runs it to 11 apiece. The first 22 split right down the middle. Just what you would expect in the Commonwealth Clash.
This is the pace that we anticipated.
And to that point a moment ago, it's a pace both teams are comfortable with.
Very much so.
Lattimore, too strong off the glass. Here come the Hokies. Deciding to go for it is Wenzel. Why not? A little underhand effort to lay it home.
Carly Wenzel, if she could get to that right hand, she is very good at finishing on that side of the basket.
Star product, also one of the key sophomores in this matchup, the ball handler for the Hokies. Here's Hurd. She's a standout freshman, and she'll work her way to the line as a foul.
These teams, if they keep playing well, they can be playing for that NCAA berth and trying to get another notch on that resume. Virginia Tech's been to 4 straight, and Virginia is trying to get to their first under Coach Mox.
Well, and a number of young players, a window into the future of this rivalry. One at the charity stripe right now, a top 100 recruit in Hurd, who was able to knock them down on the Virginia side of things. You think about a third-year head coach on one side, a first-year head coach on the other. This really is a window into where not only the sport is headed, but in the Commonwealth where it's headed, Mac.
Yeah, a lot of good young players. Hurd was off to a great start earlier, hit that freshman wall, but she's coming back and settling into things a little bit like K.O. Peterson for Virginia Tech.
And she's a little bit like, from a hype standpoint, from an energy standpoint, what they had in Kymora Johnson when she burst onto the scene a year ago. Good ball movement, and just ahead of the horn in the end, it's Eck from the corner to bring them to their feet.
Against any zone, you get the ball to the high post, you've got a chance to get a good shot coming out of there, wide open in the corner.
Nearly 250 career threes for Matilda Eck as she drives home a 16-13 lead of 3. Virginia looks to equalize from Lattimore. It won't go, but the putback is true. You know, you talked about Grays early on. She is really off to a solid start here.
Oh, yeah. She's only averaging 2 points a game. She's already matched her average, and she is an active player. And like I said, getting more confidence. And speaking of confidence, Lattimore's getting a lot more confidence, too, shooting that 3.
Another of those Texas natives talking about Grays. Lattimore on one end of the floor, and here's Baker on the other. The outside shooting, no problem in this first half.
Yeah, Lattimore didn't get to the corner quick enough. Baker, a 36% shooter from long range for Virginia Tech.
3 made threes apiece in this first period. Fading away a bit was McGee, and it's off the rim.
And McGee's better with her feet set, but she has played a little bit more diverse offensive game lately, too. Another 3 for Virginia Tech.
That one with too much air underneath it. Here comes Johnson and company. Johnson with the left hand. And this call going to go against her.
Now, you don't see her make that mistake very often. It's going to be a good defensive play.
She'll ask for a little clarification. You see the look on the face of her head coach. Let's go back to this 3 ball from Baker.
Yeah, you see Lattimore not getting out there in time, and Baker is too good a shooter to give her that much space.
Your dad's a 4-time NBA All-Star. You know the pedigree there. You think about her mom, standout at Hartford as well, and here is how she has trended across the last handful of games, really coming into her own, Coach.
Yeah, playing as good a basketball as anybody, and we talked about how well Rose Micheaux had played in the last couple games.
Averaging those 15 plus in ACC play with the work she's done to help this team work above 500 in the conference. This is going to come with an additional opportunity. Chance for a 4-point play is Carly Winsel, who made that great play on the defensive end just a moment ago, parlays it into this chance.
You being a baseball guy, you appreciate that. You make the big play in the field, and you're the first one up to bat. She made the good play defensively and comes down and gets the offensive play. You cannot foul the jump shooter. I say it to you every game.
One day we'll get it right. Here is the spot in the lineup that puts her at the line once more, has this rattle off, so it stays at 22-15. Advantage of 7 with 2.5 to go in the opening period, built by the homestanding Hokies.
Hokies in that man-to-man.
Lattimore with a nice move to work it into the paint and provide the
played with
points.
so much confidence, and she's gotten better and better every season, but she is playing her best basketball for the University of Virginia and Coach Mox right now.
What have you seen for her at Virginia that's a little different than what you saw from her previously career-wise?
It's really confidence. She is playing. She feels good about everything. She's always been a good shot blocker and a good rebounder, but look at this. This tells what we were talking about. 3 points a game at Texas, a little more in Miami, a little less, but now a solid double-figure score and a threat for a double-double every night for Coach Mox.
What a find for the Hoos, the well-traveled Latasha Lattimore. Inside 10 to shoot. McGee zips a pass to Johnson from the baseline. She reverses it home.
Nice play on the baseline. Virginia Tech, another freshman in the game, Richard freshman in Nelson, but a true freshman in Peterson that we talked about earlier.
Well, you see there, Johnson without the basketball in her hands, and she's battling to come down with a rebound here. Will be Virginia's basketball. Back to Kymora Johnson. How do you defend Kymora Johnson? That's always the question when you're facing UVA.
Very carefully. She can do a little bit of everything, and she, she is a point guard, but she is a scoring point guard.
Mad scramble for the handle right now. In the end, it's White. She loses it. And as wild a stretch as we've had takes us inside the final minute of the opening stanza.
This is exactly what we expected. Up and down, furious action, and great competition.
A one-possession basketball game. And Virginia looked to pull a little tighter, though the rim is unkind. The foul call against Baker, a first personal against her.
Valenti Paya on the dribble right here. The transfer from Long Beach. She's been playing mostly in a defensive role, but she's been a good scorer in her past stops.
Valenti Paya, the Australian to the line. Into the contest is Eck on the Virginia Tech side of things. The horn sounds one more time as Brianna Hurd is back into the contest for UVA.
Those freshmen that we talked about, these young players that both these coaches are looking forward to maturing.
First one for Valenti Paya down.
Good shooter, 77% free throw shooter. The Australian native was at Buffalo, then Long Beach State.
She connects on both, making it a one-point basketball game.
We've gotten everything we signed up for today so far.
Boy, if the first quarter is any indication of where this one's headed. Nice crowd, nice competition. Stick around. Here's Eck. Lost the handle at the half-minute mark.
Good communication there for Virginia. Got a switch. They were playing man-to-man, and they can take the last shot of the first quarter.
Yeah, chance for the Cavaliers to claim the lead.
Kymora Johnson said, y'all went a little bit too quick. Wait. Now go.
Slowest possession we've seen. Too strong from Lattimore. Still time for Virginia Tech. Perhaps a pass too many, and it's waved off. It'll stay at 22-21. What a first quarter. What a clash underway. Advantage Virginia holds in the battle for Commonwealth supremacy. Back to action. Start of the second period. You talk about a half a point. These two separated by just a single point. That stays the case, even though Lattimore runs it to an 8-0 run for Virginia and gives the Cavaliers now the 1-point advantage.
Yeah, and that's that confidence I talked about. They ran an ISO play after the timeout for her to go one-on-one, and she didn't hesitate.
And there's the whistle as the contact is down there. So tuck it away in the back of your mind. A 1-point lead for the Hokies at the end of the first quarter. A 1-point advantage for Virginia after securing the first basket of the second period and taking that run to 8-0, set to inbound down low win. So you got to look at both coaches. What's going through their minds right now as best you can decipher?
Trying to still feel where they might have an advantage. And Virginia deciding whether they're going to be better in the zone or better in the man-to-man. Both teams are shooting the ball really well, especially from three-point range, where both teams are shooting 50%. And now just a little under 50 for Virginia Tech.
Almost knocked that down on cue for you on the inbound after
almost teeing it up.
The Valente Paya foul, her first whistled in the midst of that. Now Johnson with her first look of the second quarter. It won't go. Somehow able to come down with a rebound and keep it alive for Virginia. You heard how the building felt about it.
Yeah, they thought Noyan might have been over the back.
Single digits on the shot clock. Noyan decides to dribble in this time. In a little bit of trouble. But McGee has a window to shoot. It won't go. Looking way out front. Lonnie White with the left hand and enough disruption from McGee. Johnson to save it in.
She does a little bit of everything. So smart.
Talk about what a unique player she is, and you mentioned she does a little bit of everything. Only player in Power 4 with 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per contest. And it's not just a rare category she's in, it's a solo category she's in.
The only one in America.
2 to shoot. She will from the base of the V in the Virginia Tech logo.
Yeah, I don't think that was the shot Coach Mox was looking for.
Hit wide when all is said and done.
Virginia back to man-to-man.
Micheaux.
Hokies got what they wanted. Ball screen and roll. Micheaux wide open and missed it at the rim.
Hurd comes away with it. Everybody a rebounder. One of the points of emphasis for UVA. Lattimore looked up, saw nobody there to defend. This time she's got white jerseys everywhere. And they stand tall.
You think this game is important by the reaction of the crowd?
You think they're letting them play a little bit too? Gotta like the looks of that on both sides.
Hey, let them figure it out.
Micheaux bodied up, but somehow wills it down underneath.
Really good, playing through the contact.
Think about
back to her natural position, playing in the low post.
Sorry about that, Coach. Just gonna say, think about her first half. The last time out against Wake, she was 4 for 4, 9 points. Perfect in that first half to set the tone against the Deacs.
Yeah, didn't miss the entire game, 9 for 9.
This well off the mark.
See right here, that's what the crowd was yelling about. Little push off, didn't help her. And on the other end, ball screen and roll. Didn't handle the pass cleanly, but sure made that shot through the contact.
Who says the outside shooting wins the day? Plenty of good work being done in the paint on both ends. This is lost right out in front of that Virginia bench, and it'll be UVA basketball. Layla Wells coming into the contest for the Hokies.
Another good freshman. Yeah, another good freshman.
She's got that Michigan connection. We talked about the Michigan connection both of these coaches had at one point. She hailing from the state of Michigan. Hurd with a head of steam. Plenty of Virginia Tech traffic there to disrupt it. A little too deep underneath, but Micheaux makes something out of it, and she'll go to the line.
That was a really nice play. Micheaux ran the floor hard. Wells, the freshman we talked about, made the nice pass. Micheaux didn't get it in against the contact this time, but we'll go to the free throw line.
First personal whistled on Noyan.
Virginia Cavaliers number
As good as she's been from the field, where she's the best percentage-wise shooter in the ACC, and kind of lacking on the free throw line.
Good luck finding an area of late.
57%. And she's got a good stroke, that good form. Kind of hard to explain that percentage, to be honest.
It is. Tremendous player coming into her own. You know, she gave so much credit to the coaching staff and the work they've done with her of late. You talked about the 2 back-to-back 20-point contests. Talked about the way Hoover had worked with her and how that translated itself into the Wake game, which had to be big for her. Think about the former Wake head coach on the staff, and they pick up the big win there. And she was right there in the thick and in the middle of it, as well as that Georgia Tech game. You know, we hadn't really referenced that yet, Coach. That Georgia Tech contest, it was a spark for this Virginia Tech team.
Yeah, well, the biggest win of Coach Duffy's career here at Virginia Tech so far.
All 5 was 17 or more as the offense was evenly distributed. Little trouble trying to get some open real estate down the left side. Guess what? This is going to be an offensive call again.
Yeah, Riley Grays with the illegal screen. That's her second foul. Moved just a little bit, stuck that hip out.
Just as they were trying to create some open real estate for Johnson, and there you see the response from Coach Mox.
Looks like you're going to see Taylor Lauterbach for Riley Grays.
Well, after that 8-0 run a moment ago, Virginia 0 of its last 7 in a scoring drought of now over 4 minutes. McGee tries to change that right into the hands of Eck.
They've missed 8 in a row, but they're still only down 2 points.
It's remarkable. Looked like it might double, but that rolls everywhere but down, and then ending up down is Baker on the deck. It's going to be Virginia basketball and a 2-point contest. Seat for Micheaux. She'll get a breather.
Lauterbach, 6'7", by far the tallest person on the floor. Shot blocker, kind of a face-up shooter. She can step out and shoot it.
Calling for the basketball. No doubt about the size advantage, and it's Lattimore who makes it count as she feeds her inside.
She's just such a tough matchup. She's quicker than a normal post player. She's taller than a lot of forwards. High post, a little screen right there, poor communication. Could have switched, should have switched probably. That was a nice play call by Coach Mox and the Cavaliers.
As Lattimore looks for 3 the old-fashioned way, she also is trying to work herself into double figures. Does by knocking it down. She's the first to 10 in the contest. What a start for Lattimore.
Virginia man-to-man. See what Coach Duffy dials up here to try to get the best matchup she can match. Lattimore is on Baker. Good ball movement right there. Got an open shot, but here comes Virginia in transition.
Now remember that basket by Lattimore ended a run of 8 consecutive off the mark, and the whistle kind this time around will take us to break. And a Virginia opportunity coming on the other side.
Too, the percentages of three-point shots, they were both a little hotter than they normally are.
Both teams with 9 made baskets to this point. And Kymora Johnson to the line.
Virginia is great at getting to the line. 3rd best team in the league. They shoot more than 18 free throws a game.
Back of the iron on the second effort. So the lead just 2. 4.5 to play in the second quarter.
Virginia back into man-to-man.
Well, Virginia, you said it, and you broke it down on that play, playing more zone of late, but a zone that lends itself to man principles. Still a man team through and through, right, when it comes to philosophy.
Coach Mox loves to play the man-to-man. She's had to play zone by necessity with the injuries and different lineups. And they've done it well. It's served them well in several different games. started against Auburn when Auburn had a couple shooters out, so they decided to play a little bit of zone. They liked it, and they've continued to play and continued to tweak it. Lattimore used to be at the top of it. Now McGee is at the top of the zone usually, but they're man-to-man right now.
That was a first foul picked up by Lauterbach on the other end. Somehow able to hang on and then find Eck in the heart of the paint. What a look to set that up by Carly Wenzel.
Yeah, she was trying to post up Kymora Johnson, lost the handle on it, but still found Eck cutting to the rim.
27 all with 3.5 remaining in the second. What a basketball game this one has proven to be thus far. Hurd puts it on the floor and now finds its way back out top. That's straight taken away by Nelson. Off the glass, Mackenzie Nelson with a bucket.
Nice decision by Nelson going ahead and attacking. She knew Johnson would not get her second foul.
She's got to be involved somehow. She's got a birthday coming up on Saturday the 18th, and she puts the Hokies out front here.
Virginia Tech's been good on the defensive end, mainly contesting the three-point shot, but here's a passing lane by Mackie Nelson. She knows she's got one-on-one. She also recognizes, being a redshirt freshman but cerebral, that Johnson is not going to pick up that second foul.
You know, Mackie Nelson, one of the key contributors in the win against previously unbeaten Georgia Tech. She had 7 points, 3 rebounds, couple of assists, and a steal. Contributed in every way possible.
She gets her hands on ball. She takes charges. She does a lot of things that don't necessarily show up in that stat box.
Of course, averaging 5.6 with a couple of rebounds per contest when you look at it overall. This is a beautiful zip pass inside, and Johnson was waiting.
Really good pass by McGee. She is getting more and more confident in doing things other than just being a jump shooter.
Able to work her defender down, and despite the size disadvantage, Micheaux again getting the job done.
At 6'7", no problem. Rose Micheaux tied her up where she couldn't block that shot.
Micheaux, of course, the Minnesota transfer here a year ago, coming into her own this season, but they are trading buckets right now, Coach. Once again, knotted up, 31 apiece.
Yeah, Micheaux with 9 and 5 already. She's had 5 double-doubles this season and a triple-double. The second one in school history.
She's got a lot of basketball left in this one to make her mark. Really playing her best basketball in ACC competition. Taken away by Wenzel. Called her own number, but it's off and into the grasp of Lattimore. Well, they got a little tangled up there.
Yeah, they never got the good spacing. It was 2-on-1. Should have been an easy layup, but they never got spaced correctly. Need to be 15 to 18 feet apart.
Lauterbach tried to reach out and secure that. It was last touched by Virginia Tech.
Here's the back cut, little back screen there. Lattimore back screening. And then Micheaux on the dribble, pump fake. You want to be the second person off the floor in the post, and she was.
Well, that is a snapshot of what our star performers have been in this one. Highlight players coming in as advertised in the first half. Hurd gathers it up. Good recovery by the freshman.
Yeah, I like that decision. She's been turning the ball over some and that kind of thing on drives, but that was a good decision. Take that 10, 12-footer.
Made a couple of free throws, made a couple of field goals. She's at 6 points in this first half. Inside a minute to play in the opening half of action. Head of steam from Nelson, and she has a beautiful lay-in.
Makes key plays, doesn't she?
She streaked across the baseline and was somehow able to find just enough touch to tie it up again. Strong for Noyon, able to use the front of the iron.
Beautiful pass by Johnson that time in a crowd. Johnson 8 points and 2 assists here in the first half.
Virginia shooting 39%. Virginia Tech shooting 43% in this first half. Hokies with 5 to shoot. And enough contact that the foul is called. And
they could have called that one either way.
more important than that right now is Hurd a little slow to move away from the play after being whistled for the contact.
I think Coach Box is asking. You see the hook right there, but of course the contact by Hurd at the same time. When you have contact by both players, you put it in the hands of the official.
And the whistle goes against her. Just her first personal. She is coming off. And Virginia bringing Paris Clark to that spot. As Eck knocks home the first, another would mean even again at the 9-second mark of this first half.
That Johnson will be involved in this either as the shot taker or the shot facilitator. Mackie Nelson picks her up full court.
Plenty of time, an eternity at 5 seconds as she crosses the timeline. Lost off the knee, recovers it herself. The shot won't go. And nothing settled after one half of basketball inside Castle Coliseum. 35 Virginia Tech, those two having made whatever adjustments the half called for, and we go back to work between the Hokies and the Cavaliers. What do you watch for adjustment-wise? Well, try to go back to Rose Micheaux. Why not? She's still battling to work it up from underneath. It was not to be, in Virginia initially with the takeaway, but a tie-up. Possession arrow is with the Cavaliers, so it will go this way. Talk adjustments with me, Coach.
Yeah, and that was a set play out of the halftime and got a wide open look. I think Rose Micheaux just rushed it a little bit. Good hustle by Carly Wenzel to create the jump ball, but Virginia possession going the other way with a chance to take the lead.
Cavaliers, we mentioned Lattimore, very impressive in that first half. She had 10 to lead all scorers, and this uses a little help, but works its way down, and Virginia reclaims the lead. You know, Virginia trending upward with the way the first half ended, trying to carry some of that over.
Yeah, they had that one drought, but finished strong, and you know, felt like they had a little bit of momentum going into the half, even though we hadn't decided anything with the tie score.
Yeah, another tie up. This time possession arrow going to keep it on this end of the floor. All right, I asked you about Virginia adjustments. How about Virginia Tech? If you were in the huddle in the locker room with Virginia Tech, what was their point of emphasis coming into the third?
Well, I think they did a good job. They limited the touches, limited the shots by Kymora Johnson. Battled on the backboard where Virginia has been a little bit better than them in the course of the season. But I thought both teams did a lot of good things. It's going to be, again, the continued chess match. Zone, man-to-man, set play. What matchup do you want to take advantage of? And I thought both coaches had a good first half of moving the chess pieces around.
Nelson back into the contest for Virginia Tech. May not be the best time to talk about it, one of those turnovers, but you were impressed with how well both teams took care of the basketball down the stretch also.
Yeah, both teams have struggled, with high teens. Nice pass there by Paris Clark, but both teams with only 6 turnovers. Paris Clark is an interesting person to watch. She only played 4 minutes in that first half because of early foul trouble. If she plays extended minutes here, she could be a big key for Virginia as we go down the stretch. Certainly
something to underscore. You also underscore the play of Lattimore so far. He continues to remain out front of everybody else on the stat sheet with the finish that last trip down for UVA.
Yeah, UVA trying to get a little bit of a working margin. I think 5, that's their biggest lead, right?
Worked it to the high water mark, and McGee trying to add to it. Won't happen on this trip down the floor. Not able to secure it on that trip. White zips this inside. Micheaux looking for Nelson. And she stepped on the baseline. It'll be Virginia basketball.
Yeah, Virginia actually has a chance to match their largest lead this time, which would be 7.
They were going for that last time out. Didn't secure it that go-round, but with the advantage of 5, Johnson goes to the right hand, and she will lay it home. It is that largest advantage for Virginia, and a quick timeout called. We'll take it as well. A surge fun to begin the half.
3 matchups that were in favor of Virginia. McGee against Micheaux, Lattimore against Baker inside, and how about this little crossover for Kymora Johnson against the redshirt freshman Mackie Nelson.
Just a start out of the intermission that the visitors from Charlottesville were hoping for. And now after the timeout, Hokies seek an answer. It was 35 all at the break. And that appeared last touched. Hokies, it'll be Virginia basketball.
Yeah, battling up there. Bang, bang play. The officials have it going for Virginia, and they have a 7-point lead looking to build on that. Hokies need a stop. ISO right here.
Now she has been hard to stop. Another dose of Lattimore.
Yeah, they ISO'd, cleared out the right side, let her go with her strong hand.
Lattimore still leading all scorers in this contest with her impressive performance tonight. Micheaux looking for some room. There is none.
Noyan did a good job of walling up inside.
Whistle at the end of this sequence, and it's going to be handled out of bounds after that.
A lot more push right there on the rebound. Gives Virginia Tech the ball back with a chance to stop the bleeding right here.
What's it been for Virginia in this run?
Well, they've done a nice job of isolating the matchups on the offensive end and just getting stops on the defensive end. That time, Noyan sealed off Micheaux.
Plenty of time to work with. 15 to shoot. And one opportunity coming. No sealing off Micheaux this time around.
No, exactly. Coach Duffy went right back to her, liked the matchup. Micheaux used her 2-inch height advantage and her experience to get it in the basket and go back to the free throw line.
Boy, talk about a timely bucket for Virginia Tech right here. Who else would it come from of late but Micheaux?
Yeah, and they got this opportunity by the foul on the rebound.
Well, you notice with the return of Brianna Hurd, a knee brace now being put into use by the freshman.
Yeah, she collided down on the baseline, you remember.
Nice window in which to shoot. You've talked a couple of times about Noyan and what she brings to the table, the sophomore out of Sweden with a true bucket there.
Yeah, and she missed a bunch of games, missed 6 games. Just getting her strength back. Even when she came back, I had a game right before Christmas where she couldn't play more than 2 or 3 minutes at a time.
Well, it at times has been a bit of a mash unit for UVA, just trying to get everybody healthy. Beginning to come into their own there. Here's another look at the contact and the foul call.
This is Paris Clark. See the foul right there. Reaching in. Was it all ball or a little string? Bang, bang play.
Wenzel called for her first personal foul. It sends Clark to the line.
Paris Clark's such a valuable player. We talked about the injuries just a minute ago, and she's been one of those most affected by it. Missed 5 games, had a foot surgery in the offseason, injured that, got an ankle sprain on the other leg. But she's back now and appears to be rounding into shape.
Well, and we asked Coach Mox at the shoot-around today, Coach, when did you feel like you started to really have everybody from a health standpoint? She said, you mean we do? But then kind of turned it and said right around the holidays, Coach, before they could have everybody practicing.
Yeah, right about the last game before Christmas. With a big basket right there, Mackie Nelson. She's made some clutch plays for Virginia Tech and Megan Duffy all year.
Well, you think about the drive of the baseline earlier in this one. She adds to her own total. Now 6 on the score sheet for Nelson in this contest, and they've been timely. Hurd back in there. Again, you notice the knee brace, but she looks no worse for it as she swings it over to Johnson, but it's lost out of bounds. It'll be Virginia Tech basketball.
Lattimore was posting up, wanted the ball earlier from Hurd. Johnson recognized it, tried to get it to her, but off her fingertips.
You know, we talk about these two teams and their meetings a year ago, the sellouts and all the attention on this matchup. Two very different teams this time around, but two teams with so much in front of them in the ACC still.
Yeah, and two teams still, Virginia Tech, all new people in new roles, even though they have a few returnees. That's a newcomer right there who's been playing well, Lonnie White. And then Virginia they still don't know who they are because of the injuries, but both teams are playing well going into tonight's game.
White has them excited. She came over from Irvine, California, made the journey here from Utah, where she played in a first-round tourney game. Well, they were looking to explode in the building, but a little bit too much on the pass.
Yeah.
We'll leave it where it is. 48-41 the score, midway third quarter. Big ACC win on the horizon for somebody. Always a game that can give you a boost, though, a boost that both these teams need for the stretch run in the ACC.
Really important. Get Virginia Tech a little bit of a cushion, 4-2 in the league if they could win. Virginia gets back to 500. You get above 500 in this league, you got a chance to play in postseason.
Expanded as it may be, the new look ACC, the battle for position continues. Johnson had it go off the front of the iron, and look at Lattimore battling for it underneath, and she will not be denied. What a game she's put together already.
She is really playing in confidence again. I know I used it before, but that's what describes her. She really understands how good she can be.
She's pulled down 11 boards in this one. That now gives her 16 points, a double-double for Lattimore, who has led the way. And Clark just picked up what is going to be a third personal foul, so underscore that. Has a little bit of trouble brewing on that side of things. 4 minutes remaining in the third. Virginia Tech trying to take a bite out of the lead. UVA built with an early third quarter surge. This is too strong. You know, that three-point basket, it was there early in the contest. The lids have been on for the majority of the game since.
Yeah, both these teams defend the three really well.
It's one of the battles we were watching coming into this one. The made threes for Virginia Tech opposite the three-point defense for UVA. We'll see how that transpires down the stretch.
Yeah, Virginia Tech, unlike in past seasons, they don't shoot a ton of threes.
Lattimore reminding you it's not just the scoring and the rebounding as she rejects this effort underneath from the Hokies.
Virginia Tech only shoots 19 threes a game. That's about 14th in the league, but Lattimore doing what Virginia does really well, third in the league in block shots.
You know, and that is the one area that there's a bit of separation between these two teams statistically. It is 7 block shots for Virginia, 1 of them for Virginia Tech. Here's a takeaway. Slows it down and lays it home. Paris Clark with a basket. And Virginia's lead grows, now finding a double-digit advantage.
Clark was New York High School Player of the Year. She really brings a lot to the table on both ends of the floor. And she's not back all the way in playing shape either. She's going to get better and better as we go through this ACC schedule.
Yeah, still showing you some moments of brilliance. And you look up at the scoreboard all of a sudden, something we haven't experienced in this contest. Double-digit advantage in what was a 35-all contest at the intermission. Second
Lonnie
personal
White, who's
foul.
playing her best basketball for Virginia Tech.
Just going to say a second personal on her that ends up sending White, to your reference coach, to the line.
83% free throw shooter.
True as those numbers tell you on this one. Gets it to 10. And rattles it back into single digits for Virginia Tech. So some work done with the clock stop to perhaps stay the Virginia run for the moment. Building trying to get in behind the Hokies. Johnson whips a pass around. And the finish for Grays as Virginia answers.
Great vision by Kymora Johnson again. Riley Grays hanging around down there on the baseline.
Taken away. Hurd slows it up. and her lay-in is good. Virginia surging out front, and timeout being taken once more. What a third quarter this has been for UVA.
Yeah, they've been efficient on both ends of the floor, and that was a careless turnover right there for Virginia Tech. That's something that has bothered them, all season really. But here you see a soft pass to the wing. Her gets in the passing lane, and she's really a good-looking big athlete for a freshman.
Well, the turnovers force creating some easy buckets for UVA, and here's one more glance at Hurd, who is completely in control. 56-43 all of a sudden.
Yeah, Virginia 9 for 13 from the field in this quarter with, like you said, a couple easy ones, back-to-back layups. Riley Grays on the first one, and then Hurd on the second one.
And outscoring Virginia Tech 21-8 in this period thus far to create this separation. You were talking a little bit earlier about how well both teams were protecting the ball in that second quarter particularly. 7 turnovers for Virginia Tech in this third quarter alone.
6 in the first half, but 7 already in the first 7.5 minutes of this quarter.
Virginia dialing up the intensity as they sprint ahead on the scoreboard. 2.5 to go in the third. So Hokies try and cut into the gap. Well, that ends up atop one of our officials and will go the other way. Had not introduced you tonight to Eric Bruton, Rod Creech, Courtney Robinson, our officials handling this Commonwealth clash. Virginia out front, late third. Johnson just a bit wide right side, and boy, hard to the deck.
Yeah, it's been a physical basketball game. Bring up the turnovers and untimely one there for Virginia Tech coming out of that timeout. And that's what haunted them the last time that they lost a game here at the house against Florida State with 26 turnovers. Little incidental contact, everybody going for the ball right there. Riley Clark took the worst end of that. Riley Grays, I'm sorry. The sophomore transfer from UNC.
She's fortunate he came down like that head may be destined for that hardwood floor. Instead, she pops up, seems to be good to go. Bodies collide one more time, and Wenzel trying to work loose of Grace.
Yeah, Grace set the screen. Wenzel kind of ran through the screen.
Going to be a second personal whistled on Wenzel there. Inbound underneath for UVA. Johnson is down underneath. Play continues. She's going to walk off the floor beyond the baseline. Not needed at the moment as Lattimore lays it home, her latest basket. But Virginia saying, wait a minute, to hold everything, because Kymora Johnson was walking around somewhat shaken up there, Coach.
Yeah, I didn't see the contact away from the ball. Standing low, steps in bounds. Kind of bodied up right there.
Well, you'll see her there at the very end of that. Just kind of walked
The previous
off.
play is on a review for an unobserved.
And they're going to look at this. Right after we reference our officials, they have one of the pivotal moments of the night as they go to the replay table.
Yeah, it was a physical play. I didn't see like an extension of the arm or hand, but it just looked like a physical play, and Johnson trying to cut in one direction. Layla Wales trying to stop the cut.
Well, I know it's football time, right? NFL particularly.
We have nothing on the play. It'll be Virginia Tech's ball, baseline run.
There you go. This is not the 2-minute warning. It's a review we're under here.
That's right.
And you heard the response. Here's one more glance at it.
There you go. Yeah, just trying to impede the progress right there.
Nothing there, and you certainly hope in the case of Johnson, nothing there lingering. She seems to be okay.
Virginia picking up full court. I want to give Virginia Tech, not necessarily steal the ball, but give them another opportunity to turn it over, put some pressure on them.
It's been the culprit in this third quarter. This time gathered up by Wenzel. Having all kind of trouble as pestering D's taking place, and the foul is going to be called on Johnson as those two guards come together once more. Well, now you're going to have all the Hokies gather up. Look at the elbow of Carly Wenzel, who is a bit slower to get up.
Yeah, again, aggressive play. We'll get to see a look right here. Johnson knocks it away, going for a loose ball. Just good aggressive play right there.
Not quite
Wenzel.
the Commonwealth Cup, the Commonwealth Clash here, but it's looking a little bit like it.
These two schools certainly are competitive in a lot of different areas. Virginia with the big lead right now, and from a points perspective, 5-1.
And a sizable advantage here on the hardwood. Lattimore down the left side. She lays it home. 25 points. That's the high water mark for a quarter on either side in this contest. And Virginia, 5 of its last 7 from the floor, has outscored Virginia Tech 25-9 here in the third.
20-13 now. Easily the most dominant player in the game.
Well, and that's not all. Look at some of the other numbers as well. She had that big block a moment ago. She has done everything for Virginia in this one. Numbers for UVA. Hurd takes it herself, and despite a bit of an awkward collision at the end, it's 2 on the board. And another whistle. This going against Kymora Johnson. And she protests this foul. It's the second quick one she's picked up in the last several moments.
Yeah, she was saying that that Carly was pushing off. Johnson picks up that additional foul, though.
Yep, her third overall. You're right, Coach. And 2 of them coming there in succession.
And one of the ways Virginia Tech can creep back in this game is getting to the free throw line and scoring while that clock is stopped.
Wenzel makes good on that with her first. She is 7 in the contest overall. Makes just 1 of the 2.
Johnson with 3 fouls, Clark with 3 fouls.
Both of them still out there on the floor. In the final minute of the third. It has been to this point, as this time Johnson on the receiving end of the whistle down there.
Not in the bonus yet. Virginia will have the baseline out of bounds here.
The player's on review for a clock malfunction.
Nelson coming back into the contest. As you heard, they are going to take a moment to make sure everything is right with the clock. Currently sitting at 42.9 in the third.
After review, the game clock will reset to 45.9 when the foul was called.
And they're going to add a couple of seconds plus to it here. Coach, when you take in this third quarter, 27-10 is the split right now. Virginia outscoring Virginia Tech. It's been the difference-making corner for the Hoos so far in this one.
Yeah, the Hoos getting good shots, 12 for 18 from the floor, and Virginia Tech with the 8 turnovers. That's a bad combination, and while we're sitting here with a 17-point deficit.
And if you just joined us, in the third, it was 35 all at the break before this dominant third quarter performance for UVA. Eck with a steal. Wide open look, but it rattles out on Baker. Guess who's there underneath?
Shots don't go in. Got to go get them. Micheaux says, I got this.
Hokies trying to close out the quarter strong. Here's the final possession, perhaps, of the third. Go time for Johnson. Going to stay on this end with Virginia.
Be a catch and shoot situation right here. One of the better catch and shoot opportunities coming in here. Olivia McGee, who's very good at that.
Goes into Lattimore. Nothing able to be put up before the quarter comes to a close. Virginia unworried by that, though. They number 33 set to be retired here on Sunday. Coach, you think about the ACC records, the Virginia Tech firsts, whether it be titles or a run to the Final Four, the memory's so thick, and they certainly will be this weekend.
Yeah, multiple-time player of the year in the ACC. We use the word special too much. She's special, and it'll be an emotional celebration on Sunday afternoon as they retire her jersey.
You had a front row seat for much of it. How do you put into words what she meant to this program?
Oh, I don't think you can. I mean, she
That's
transformed the program and did it with a touch of class. A great person as well as a great player and a great ambassador for the university.
Still a few days away, but you can tell there's a great deal of energy already here in Blacksburg for that moment, something you won't want to miss coming up this weekend for sure. Well, Virginia used a third quarter to create separation going into the final now 9 minutes and change of this basketball game. Your thoughts looking back at the third and looking ahead to the balance of this one, Coach?
Yeah, Virginia's doing what they absolutely want to do on both ends of the floor. Coach Mox talked about needing some bench points. Well, she's got 16 tonight, and that's about the margin of the game. And Virginia Tech has suffered in that area a little bit and dominating the paint. 38 points in the paint for Virginia.
Now you think about the domination offensively in the paint, which you've seen, also the block shots and the difficulty for Virginia Tech in there. Looking for some type of spark, and here's Eck to provide it. And now a whistle out top before things develop on this possession.
And both teams still want to play fast. Both teams are capable from three-point range. Virginia Tech doesn't shoot as many as they have in the past, but still have some really good shooters. And Virginia's not going to slow down. So Virginia Tech needs stops and then convert on the other end to try to creep back in this game.
Yeah, no reason for concern up top as that whistle on Nelson. Here's a look at the three from Johnson.
Yeah, she has such range and doesn't need much. She can get her shot off anytime, but she's really matured. She's the leader of this team. Last year she was a good player on this team. Now she's the leader of this team.
What a find right there in the shadow of grounds at the University of Virginia, the Charlottesville native. So far in this one, 13 points among all the other things she provides. Starting to heat up all of a sudden is Eck, and trying to spark the Hokies in the process.
Yeah, and she's capable of scoring in bunches. You saw her inside, now you see her outside.
She, in these last moments, has worked herself into double figures. And it's going to go offensive. It's going to be Virginia Tech basketball. Now look at where that puts Kymora Johnson all of a sudden.
Yeah, and Clark on the illegal screen right here. Handoff, turns away. Wow. I mean, there was a lot of contact there, but I'm not sure what the foul was, to be honest.
Yeah, you see,
but there was contact.
You're right. See the celebration there from Virginia Tech as the Hokies try to go on a run here. This would be another huge three.
Same thing on the other end. Same call on the other end. And we've seen it all year. It's been a point of emphasis now, really, for a couple years. And they will call it if you're not set when you set that screen.
Symmetrical sequence between these two. It ends up with Virginia set for the inbound.
I like that symmetrical sequence.
Well, now we work our way to 7:45 and ticking downward with Virginia still holding steady. This time it's 65-52. Johnson sees enough of a window to try a three. That connected with just about everybody before it was finally gathered up by Baker. Forcing White to go to the left hand. She works it back to Baker. What a drive to the bucket that time.
Yeah, and that's something she didn't do a year ago. She was just catch and shoot, but now she can't put that thing on the floor and get to the rim.
Well, a little spark for Virginia Tech at the 7 and change mark. Trying to make the Commonwealth Clash a little more interesting here in the fourth.
See the left-handed dribble?
A 7-0 run for Virginia Tech after the first 3 points of this fourth quarter were scored by UVA, and it's taken a bite out of the sizable advantage that the Cavaliers built in that solid third.
Yeah, Down to 11. Hokies with a little momentum. The crowd is involved. Cavaliers
pressure.
with some foul trouble.
You got it. A little pressure dialed up for the Hokies. Well, you know who they're going to turn to. She has been the headliner in this one. Lattimore, again, lays it home.
Yeah, and a beautiful play by her, the freshman, with a little crossover dribble, a little nice touch, soft pass.
And we're tracking the numbers at this point. Lattimore, 22 points, 15 rebounds. Also a couple of assists and a block in this contest. And you know that matches the career mark when you talk rebounds. It's back in her hands again as she goes for her career high in points. One more basket would match that. That's how good a night it's been for Lattimore.
Yeah, and we talked about the confidence, and Coach Mox has talked about that, the fact that she's really realizing just how good she is. We saw the numbers earlier. You know, at her previous stops, she is not the same player.
Nice proven tonight. Answer coming from Lonnie White. Talk about players who in previous stops made their mark and are emerging here. She's been quite a find for the Hokies.
Something psychological about getting that lead in single digits, but Kymora Johnson.
Difficult to do when Kymora Johnson drains her third three-pointer of the night. Kymora Johnson with 16 overall.
Like you mentioned, the local product there in Charlottesville. Stab, St. Anne's, Belfield.
As highly regarded a player coming in as you can imagine. They were just kind of counting the days until her arrival, and she has lived up to the hype.
Yeah, the top 100 player, McGee was also. We talked about Brianna Hurd, and they've already signed Gabby White, another top 100 player for next year.
Great deal of energy surrounding this program. And Lattimore, again, with a bucket. This one off the glass, and that does match that career high in points as she has in rebounds tonight. Heck, looking for something from three-point land. And that'll be Virginia basketball.
He's got a good look right there. Wide open three by Eck. Got a second chance there, but tipped it out of bounds.
Talked about the foul trouble, referencing that for fans who maybe haven't been with us throughout. Clark on the floor, or not on the floor with 4 of them. Johnson is on the floor with 3. Of course, this foul whistled on the Virginia Tech side.
Yeah, Wenzel's fighting through another screen right there. Got called for the foul. She'll take a seat, and Nelson back in the game.
As Wenzel ends up picking up what is going to be her 4th now all of a sudden.
And 3rd on Virginia Tech in this quarter.
Clark, remember she's playing with 4. Or Johnson stumbling a bit, kept her footing, didn't keep the basketball. Out front to Baker.
Nice job by Nelson creating that situation. Giving Johnson all she could handle right there on that possession.
Go time.
Easy 2 for the Hokies.
Go time for the Hokies. As the fans try to get behind them, but under 4 minutes to play. Virginia content to slow the pace a bit, but how about this? Stuffed aside by Baker.
Baker, 14 blocks on the season.
Just the 2nd block for the Hokies tonight. It's a category Virginia had excelled in with 8. Hurd, too strong. Gets the whistle though.
Yeah, Hurd very good in the open floor. Like we talked about, came in and had a great start to her career at Virginia, and then slowly the scouting report got out on her, and she hit that freshman wall that all coaches talk about, but she is starting to make other plays, not worried about just scoring. She rebounds, defends, runs the floor. She's going to be a very good player for Coach Mox.
Found in Waynesville, Missouri. She's good on the initial.
Yeah, that previous relationship with Coach Mox from being out in that area.
You got it. Second rolls off.
Good rebound right there by Baker in a crowd. Snatched that ball.
Some room for Eck. Possession taking a lot of time. 10 to shoot for Virginia Tech. Micheaux finishes.
Oh, a nice little shot fake and finished with the left-hand dribble drive. Took a lot of time off that clock that time, though. Virginia did a good job of switching until the very end when Micheaux got to the rim.
Rose Micheaux's 15, leading all Hokies in this one. Tie up, and the possession arrow will send it to the other end of the floor.
13 points, a little less than 3 minutes. Almost got a score on this possession.
Lattimore coming back, going to be joined by Peyton Dunbar, another of the freshmen, another of the Virginia products coming into the game. And we mentioned what a contest it has been for Latasha Lattimore. Those are the numbers that prove it.
But Dunbar in the game from locally Narrows, Virginia.
Those numbers give you her season high. Sorry about that, coach, in points. Needing one more for the career high, to be specific. But Lattimore certainly leading the way. You're just finding us in this one. Eck from three-point land.
Mackie Delson with great hustle. Kept that ball alive and found Eck wide open. Everybody standing around watching. Eck says, I've got this wide open.
And Eck keeping hope alive for the moment with just under 2.5 to play.
Look at this hustle. As she's falling down, couldn't get there in time. And Eck cuts it to 11.
A couple of key threes tonight for Eck. 5 field goals overall. She has 14 points. That is timely as any. Grace couldn't get it to go down, and Virginia Tech gets the basketball back.
Got that stop they needed. Johnson made a really nice pass to Grace. Grace couldn't finish it through all the traffic.
You always talk about how there's something about single digits. Here's an opportunity to get it there.
This would be big. Crowd is waiting for it, too. And unfortunately, another turnover.
It's going to be a second on Micheaux, and that says everything, as a 16th turnover for Virginia Tech gives it back to UVA.
Yeah, 10th in the second half. After we praised both teams for doing such a good job in the first half.
Under 2, and UVA trying to salt it away. Second turnover here in the fourth quarter, but couldn't have come at a tougher time for the Hokies. But feed, can she find her footing? Not quite, but it stays with UVA, and that's precious time ticking off the clock now.
Lattimore really made a nice pass right there.
Johnson went with the left hand. Micheaux closed it off. 80 seconds to go in this one. 3 rims out. A third quarter by the Cavaliers in which they outscored Virginia Tech 27-12. Took what was a 35-all contest and created the separation.
Hokies had 4 for 8 in that first quarter from long range, and since then, 1 for 11.
Kind of speaks to the story down the stretch in this one. Back of the iron. Off into Johnson's graph. She's 1 of 3 in double figures for Virginia. She has 16, Hurd with 11. Lattimore leading everybody with 24 of them and a double-double with 15 boards. And that is out of bounds with just under a half minute to play. An impressive win for Virginia, coming on the road in the Commonwealth Clash. What a springboard this could be for a team finally getting everybody healthy and in rhythm.
Yeah, all that. You didn't know how they would react to that heartbreaking loss to Duke on Sunday, and they have answered the bell here. Like you said, winning on the road, league win, and a Commonwealth Clash win.
Claiming the last couple. You know, you remember the meeting in Charlottesville that closed out the most recent campaign, and they will take the first half point in the Commonwealth Clash of the full point available on the women's basketball side. This got to be a late call that goes against, or late in the contest, I'm saying, that goes against a Virginia team looking up at the scoreboard and pleased with where things are. Hokies, plenty out in front of them still as well, though, Coach.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's a lot of basketball to be played, and this team has outperformed expectations.
Long three from White completes the scoring, but the horn sounds, and Virginia comes into Blacksburg, takes a 73-65 win. Back to